What if a US president was targeted for assassination and his response was a threat to erase an entire country? That's exactly the explosive warning Donald Trump just delivered, and it's sending shockwaves through Washington and Tehran. In a new interview aired Tuesday, President Donald Trump issued one of his most extreme warnings yet toward Iran. Trump said if Iran ever tried to assassinate him, the United States would respond with overwhelming force, saying Iran would be wiped off the face of the earth. And it wasn't just about him. Trump said the same response would apply if Iran violently crushed protesters inside the country. Anything ever happens, Trump said, the whole country is going to get blown up. He added that he has already given what he called very firm instructions. Trump also attacked former President Joe Biden, accusing him of failing to protect a sitting or former U.S. president from foreign threats. A president has to protect a president, Trump said, suggesting Biden was weak in dealing with Iran. Earlier, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian had warned that any attack on Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, would mean total war. He said Iran's response would be severe, unforgettable, and regrettable. Pezeshkian also blamed Iran's economic suffering on decades of U.S. sanctions, calling them inhumane. In a post on X, he warned any harm to our supreme leadership is a declaration of total war against the Iranian nation. Despite recently pausing plans for a direct military strike, Trump hasn't backed down. The U.S. has moved an aircraft carrier and additional military assets toward the Middle East, moves typically seen before major operations. Many analysts now say the risk of a U.S. strike on Iran remains high.
Military option still on the table, and can you assure us that the killing in Iran has stopped? And when regard to the Peace Council, which members have to pay $1 billion?
So with Iran, are you from Iran?
No, I cover the White House.
Where are you from?
I'm Palestinian American.
So with Iran, they were going to hang 837 people, and I let them be known that, and we let them know that if that happens, that will be a very bad day for them. And they decided not to do it. They didn't hang the people. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future, but supposedly they've taken that off the table. But they were going to, last week, they were going to hang on Thursday or Wednesday. They were going to hang, I think, 837 people, and they didn't hang anybody. So we're just going to have to see what happens with Iran. Is the military option off the table?
We heard a long list of accomplishments from the last year. Could you cherry pick the top three? And then looking forward, what are your three most important priorities in 2026?
So I think the building of a really powerful military has been a great achievement, and that would include the Venezuela thing, that would include the attack on Iran and the wiping out of the nuclear threat, Iran's nuclear enrichment capability, and Operation Midnight Hammer was one of the most successful anyone's ever seen. CNN fake news, I don't know where they are. CNN, anybody from CNN here? Fake news, nobody wants to raise their hand anymore. They used to argue here. Now if you're with CNN, you don't raise your hand. But they said, well, maybe it wasn't that successful, which I really was angry because these pilots took their life in their hands. 2 o'clock in the morning with no moon, dead dark, guns shooting at them. They went in with those beautiful B-2s, and every single bomb went down an air shaft and obliterated it. And CNN came out and said, well, maybe it wasn't, by a scam writer who wrote, fake stories, a lot of fake stories on other topics, right? Because when we did it, we said, that's a terrible thing. The pilots came back and they said, we hit everything. They did a great job. Then on top of that, we launched from a submarine about 30 Tomahawks on top of everything else. The place was obliterated. CNN said, well, maybe it wasn't that bad. Turned out it was worse than it was. You know who could tell you that? The Iranians would tell you that. Because if they do anything, they're going to have to start a brand new place.
Over the weekend, Ayatollah Khamenei accused the United States of fueling Iran's mass protests and economic chaos.
Worth mentioning.
In the past, whenever we encountered a sedition of this nature, we had, in fact, faced many such instances of turmoil. It was happening in the country very often. American media outlets, second-tier politicians from the United States or even European nations would typically get involved. But the unique aspect of this particular victory was that the President of the United States himself, personally, he himself, he got involved in this conquest, spoke his mind, expressed his views, and even made threats. He encouraged the instigators of unrest and sent a message from America to these individuals whose identities I will reveal to you later. You need to go forward. Go forward. Don't be afraid. We are supporting you. We are providing military support. What this means is that the American president himself got involved in this sedition. He is part of the plot. A number of individuals, a group of people who completely destroyed this complex, and they set things on fire, then they left, causing much disorder and killing many people. The Iranian nation was presented as responsible for these. This means a grave accusation was leveled against the Iranian people. He said, "These are the people of Iran. I want to defend the Iranian nation."
Let me be clear. What is happening here? These are crimes. These are serious criminal offenses.
The reasons I presented are well documented and verifiable. This means there's absolutely nothing hidden or concealed. He stated it quite openly. He spoke out very clearly.
And openly showed encouragement.
We have a continuous stream of documents that provided assistance. Both they and the Zionist regime were involved in providing help. Now I will briefly elaborate on that as well. We consider the President of America a criminal. Also, because of the casualties and because of the damages and because of the accusation he made against the Iranian nation.
Trump fired back, calling Khamenei a sick person and saying it's time for new leadership in Iran. Meanwhile, Iran has been rocked by massive protests that began in late December over inflation and economic collapse. What started as merchant demonstrations quickly turned into nationwide anti-regime rallies. Protesters chanted death to the dictator and even called for the return of Iran's exiled royal family. At their peak, hundreds of thousands flooded the streets. The government responded by shutting down the internet and launching a brutal crackdown, reportedly involving foreign militias. The protests have now quieted, but at a terrible cost. More protesters were killed than in any unrest in decades, drawing comparisons to the violent aftermath of Iran's 1979 revolution. So here's the question: is this just tough talk, or are the US and Iran inching closer to a direct confrontation? With assassination warnings, military movements, and mass unrest inside Iran, one thing is clear: this standoff is far from over.
Subscribe to One India and never miss an update. Download the One India app now.